John Dewey began his career as a high school teacher. He was born in Vermont in 1859, and by the end of his life at the ripe age of 92, he had an impressive list of accomplishments under his belt.
His life is actually devoted to lots and lots and lots of practical causes.
Philip Kitcher is the John Dewey Professor of Philosophy at Columbia University.
He's a very early endorser of things like female suffrage. He's a very early supporter of the NAACP.
Dewey was also a scholar of psychology, metaphysics, art, education, political theory, you name it. In 1899, Dewey was elected president of the American Psychological Association. In 1905, he became president of the American Philosophical Association, and he was a member of the American Federation of Teachers. Dewey was a pragmatist who believed philosophers should have a real-life impact on the world.
Not just kind of pie-in-the-sky ideas and talking to other scholars.
Sarah Stitzline is a professor of philosophy and education at the University of Cincinnati. She's also a Dewey scholar.
So there's this very social aspect of what citizens do for Dewey, and that's largely about solving social problems that keep democracy strong and healthy. And that's all guided by this pragmatist spirit of trying to figure out what works.
Dewey believed one way to maintain a strong democracy was through a strong public education system. He thought our classrooms should be focused on bettering society, not teaching individual vocational skills.
He drew our attention to children as unique individuals whose experience should be fostered and supported in our classrooms so that children could come to understand and investigate and improve the world around them.
When John Dewey died in 1952, not a lot of people were tooting his philosophical horn. Here's Columbia's Philip Kitcher again.
His influence really waned after his death. I mean, he basically got written out of the philosophy curriculum in most places.
Throughout Dewey's work runs a critique of capitalism, and Kitcher says that didn't bode well with the post-World War II American public. People didn't want to hear about radical reform.
This is the time of the Cold War. This is the time in which capitalism is pitted against the evils of a rival economic system. And people, I think, didn't want to listen to somebody like Dewey saying there are things that are really deeply wrong and that need to be reformed.
Kitcher says it wasn't until the 1970s that scholars started taking Dewey seriously again. We now have things like the John Dewey Society and professors at Columbia who get paid to study his life's work. Much of American society now lauds John Dewey. But what would Dewey think about today's American society?
I think he would be appalled. I mean, Dewey is very scathing about the idea that democracy is simply a matter of people voting periodically. You don't get informed decisions when on complex issues you get two people on television shouting at one another for about 10 minutes.
That's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush.
We both agree with campaign finance reform.
Let's talk about issues.
I worked hard for McCain-Feingold.
Nasty guy. Now I know why he doesn't have one endorsement from any of his colleagues.
I mean, I think he would think there's not a hope that people can really think through the things that matter to them and find candidates who can really advance their goals and interests.
Sarah Stitzline from the University of Cincinnati says John Dewey might be disappointed in our current democratic system, but she thinks he would still have hope.
We can't just hope in something else outside of us, but rather our hope has to relate to our own personal efforts to improve our lives as well as those of others. And all of that for him is guided by belief in meliorism. This is kind of a positive, optimistic outlook where you believe that the world can indeed be improved with effort together.
Maybe a little meliorism can go a long way.
If Donald Trump is president...
Hold on, gentlemen. I'm going to turn this car around.
Here's hoping. For Philosophy Talk, I'm Shuka Kalantari.